Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Base Builder Monday. My name is Ben. I work on a marketing team for Blindflux Studios who are currently developing Ground of Aces, including Leslie Hill. Alpha 3 has just been released and all of you guys are now playing the game and giving very valuable feedback. Last week I showed you guys what was new in Alpha 3, things that you can look forward to, things that will still be tweaked, and things you can give feedback on and maybe change for by the time we reach early access. There will also be an Alpha 4 release actually coming very soon. That's going to be a very special release, but more information on that in the coming weeks. However, today I would like to introduce something very special to you that is new, that is not part of the Alpha 3, and that is victory points. As the name suggests, victory points are something that you can get when you win. Before I can show you how the victory points work, we need to understand how this plane system works. So it used to be that you could just build a parking zone, and then you could call a plane, the plane would be there, and that was that. But now we've added a hierarchy. So you cannot just willy-nilly get any plane you want at any time. There are requirements. So the Lancaster, for instance, would need a tier 4 airstrip, it would need a bigger parking zone, and it would need victory points. So victory points are now used as a currency to buy planes. This means when you start out in the early game, the only plane that you will have available will be a Gluster Gladiator because it costs 0 victory points. So now we've got a mission pop out, light fighter interception, success estimate 0%, add our planes there and suddenly it's 100%. So that should be all right. So we send these planes off. Where are my 3 pilots? Zoop. As ever, in this little window down here, there should be some text. There we go. Woo. Was the enemy spot in front of us? They are unaware. Engaging. Enemy scouts successfully eliminated. Beautiful. All right. So that's a successful mission. So now when they come back, you see here, you get 1 victory points plus 5 base confidence. So everyone gets a nice morale boost and we get a victory point. And oh, this one's damaged, huh? This one's actually quite damaged. So we have 1 victory point, as you can see up here, 1 victory point, which allows us to go to airplanes and have a look. Okay, what planes can we buy with 1 victory point? The answer is none. The cheapest plane you can buy so far is the Gluster Gladiator, requires 0 victory points, right? There's 0. You hover over it, you currently have 1. Hawker Hurricane requires 3, Spitfire 5, Blenheim 7, and the Lancaster accordingly 10. So the idea of this is that you slowly, gradually build up on planes, right? So the idea of the game is not for you to be able to spawn the best planes immediately from the get-go. You kind of have to work your way towards it. So we get another victory point there and 10 base mood. That's great. So with these missions, you actually have to earn your planes. But the overall feel of achievement, right? That satisfying feeling of achievement when you get the planes is there. If you guys have been watching like past videos, I would just spam planes and make the base look really cool with 10 big planes, you know. But now you actually have to earn them, and that feeling is very different, right? So you have to gradually, incrementally build your base step by step, manage your morale, manage your people, manage the amount of parking spots you have, and then slowly decide, okay, which missions are more valuable? Is it worth getting this or that plane with the few amount of points that I have? Because your planes can be sent into battle and they can be destroyed and they won't come back, right? So you will have to think twice before sending a very valuable Hawker Hurricane or a Bristol Blenheim into battle, because that's 7 victory points and that is a lot of missions. So now that we have 3 victory points, we can now think about getting a Hawker Hurricane, but it's on tier 2, right? So if I go over here, it will say airstrip tier 2 low. So I would need to upgrade my airstrip. Getting a runway to a tier 2 requires the entire area to be covered in sand, which means you have to go get sand, harvest the sand, and then, you know, cover the entire area, and then etc. when you go over to concrete, tarmac for tier 3 and 4 respectively to get even larger planes. So you can see this incremental build up in the game, and all along you're trying to manage the amount of planes that you send off into missions, making sure that they just don't die because they're very valuable, also managing your base at the same time. So you can see that the game has really come together. It has very many aspects that you need to juggle at the same time. So the base building aspect, or the micromanaging aspect, has become quite complex. Let's just talk about the gameplay, the amount of gameplay that we have so far. So this is the Alpha 3 release. Completely playable. You want to play the demo on Steam, go for it. This is a lot of content. So up until this part of the game, which in my opinion is still very early game, right? Tier 2 runways, you still only have the first tier planes. A newcomer playing this would take maybe at the very least an hour, probably more, looking at 2 hours here. So there is a lot of gameplay to go around. So let me get the Hawker Hurricane. Request plane, cost me 3 victory points. Beautiful. Now the beauty of this scaling is that now you have 3 Gluster Gladiators, you have a Hawker Hurricane, and you have a tier 2 runway. So as you progress with the runway tiers, and this might change, but the idea is the more planes you have, the more variety you have, and the higher tier runway you have, the harder the missions get. So it's more likely that your planes will not return, that your pilots might just die. So it kind of slows your progression down, but not in a way that feels unfair or not fun. On the contrary, it actually pushes you to kind of manage your base differently, come up with different strategies, and maybe be more efficient in the way you do things. So I hope this video gave you kind of an insight into what these victory points are, how they work, and why they're in here, right? The idea is not that you can get any plane whenever you want, you kind of have to earn them. And working your way up here incrementally means you have to invest a lot of hours into further missions to get planes of lower tiers until you can get the plane of the higher tier, right? And while doing that, managing all the new crew members that come to your base, make sure that morale, the energy levels are high enough until you get a tier 4 runway, which size-wise is going to look like this. Not just size-wise, but also resource-wise, you have to turn into a tarmac runway, which will take a long time as well. So when this whole victory point system is released in the next alpha and you guys start playing it, your feedback will be incredibly valuable. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Base Builder Monday and victory points. If you have any questions whatsoever, any feedback, any ideas, let me know. If not, I wish you a very nice week and I'll see you next week. Take care and bye-bye.